Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Sucker Punch Studios and Ghost of Yotei has done the absolutely unthinkable thing. It has managed in one single week to unite both sides of the ideological and political spectrum against their own game. This is a date that this is a moment that should be recorded in the annals of history. Because, well, this is what happens when you cater to one side or the other and then try to course correct. You end up pissing everyone off. I've said it numerous times. You have more than welcome to speak your opinions, voice your concerns, speak your mind on social media, but that does not and never will protect you from the customer. I have every right to voice my opinion by shutting my wallet or opening my wallet up if I like what you have to say. But 9 times out of 10, I personally could not care less what your opinion is. Make me an entertaining product. Entertain me. Give me something to escape the doldrums of reality, the nonsense of what's outside my door. I'm not interested. I deal with that on a day-to-day basis. I come home for escapism, but yet time and time and time again, you feel like your opinion is just so important. For some, maybe it is. But if your job in the industry is to be entertaining, to create entertainment, maybe perhaps you should realize that there's going to be a lot of people out there that disagree with you and perhaps behave accordingly. Say what you want, but don't get upset when the consequences show up at your doorstep. Over at that Park Place, Ghost of Yotei now facing a boycott. A boycott from the right and the left. After everything that's happened over the past week. Because one of their developers had an opinion, and Sucker Punch reacted to that opinion. And I can't stop giggling over this because the Schadenfreude is so very strong in all this. I had my opinions. I made a couple of videos on Ghost of Yotei and the lovely, wonderful voice actress involved in this game. And I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt because it's a paid gig. That's all they're doing. They're reading some lines off of paper. How much could their activist lifestyle and mentality truly, honestly infect the game? They're not a developer. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they can push the story in one direction or another, or they could just sit there and be nothing more than the animals at the circus and the zoo, follow instructions and be there to entertain you. But then Drew Harrison came out and had a few things to say on social media after the incident that happened last week with Charlie Kirk. I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. Now, after that statement was criticized, Drew came out and tried to claim it was a reference to a Nintendo product, a Nintendo IP. But the thing is, Drew, you don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, and people aren't as dumb as you think. Luigi, we know who you're talking about. If you can spot me in the Sapporo Ghost of Yotei. Yes, that's just nothing else. Well, Drew just came and doubled and tripled down, and well, Sucker Punch had stuff to say. They felt a certain way about these little statements, and apparently, supposedly, Drew got let go. Backlash was immediate. Critics argued that cheering on violence against a political activist crossed the line. A whole lot of stuff is coming out right this, and I'm just sitting on the sideline with popcorn going, we warned you. We told you. We warned you what would happen, but you continued to cheer it on when it was happening to people you didn't like. Now it's happening to people you do like. And it's bad all of a sudden? Soon after, Sony confirmed to Kotaku that Harrison was no longer an employee at Sucker Punch. Oh, cry me a river. First time? I'm not going to celebrate someone losing their job, but I'm going to giggle about it because, again, This is the kind of nonsense you promoted years ago when it was happening to people you didn't like. Now it's landed at your doorstep and it's affecting you. You had nothing to say before. No matter how often, no matter how many times people posted the meme, the saying, but when they came for me, there was no one there to stop them. Funny how things come to pass. Conservatives cancel pre-orders. Conservatives? I don't like lumping common sense, compassionate people into the conservative badge, label, whatever, because with everything coming out, you had people on all ends of the political and ideological spectrum looking around going, I don't think I like you celebrating a man's death, regardless of whether you like him or not. We shouldn't do that. And regardless of whether you think he was a this or an ist or a phobe or a whatever. That's a whole different story. But when Harrison came out, when a good old Drew came out, a bunch of gamers, a group of gamers who, yes, I guess they're a little more conservative leaning, looked at that and go, you're inside the studio. That's a bit despicable. We're going to cancel our pre-orders. We're not going to touch your game with a 10-foot pole. I had no intention of buying this game, so I don't really have anything to say on that part. But I do gonna talk about it. So posting screenshots of their refund confirmation and plans to boycott the game. And then suddenly the left fires back. Sucker punches. Many said they could not support a company employing someone who celebrated Kirk's killing. Hopefully YouTube doesn't smack me in the nuts with that one. But hey, let's find out how far and wide this video gets. Hey, hit that like button. Go ahead and comment and share it and all that other stuff. Hit me a subscribe if you'd feel so inclined. Please. For them, this was about free speech and respect for life. No, it's not really about free speech because freedom of speech, First Amendment, protects people from the government. Say whatever you want. You are more than welcome. But when you start getting into basic morality and respect for someone's life, regardless of, he wanted to talk to people. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Companies are going to company. Corporations are going to corporate. They're going to make decisions based on whether or not the nonsense that you say online is going to affect their brand, their studio, and they have every single right. I believe, didn't we hear that before? When Gina Carano got fired for her post on social media? Corporations have every right to do what they wish because it's a private company. The government cannot force them one way or another to continue to employ someone. They cannot stop them from firing you for whatever reason. Conduct unbecoming of an employee, making their brand look bad. Isn't that what we were told? Interesting how you're not screaming for that now. Interesting. Many expressed their outrage that the developer felt comfortable mocking a murder victim and a AAA company was unwilling to condemn that publicly. However, Drew got fired. Sucker Punch's refusal to address the issue intensified backlash from the right. Well, Blue Sky's losing it. Yes, they are, TDS. Activists on Blue Sky are now furious that the studio caved to what they call right-wing pressure. I'm sure people were calling for Drew to be fired, but maybe just voicing your displeasure and your distaste and your desire to no longer support Sucker Punch swayed them in one direction or another. And can you blame them, really? With the prospect of losing mountains of cash. Everyone on Blue Sky wants to boycott Ghost of Yotei. I don't care. What Sucker Punch did, firing one of the devs for speaking truth to power. Exercising their First Amendment right, which they have every single solitary right to do so. I will never call for them to be silenced. But I can't control what the corporation does. I can't tell Sucker Punch what they can and cannot do with one of their employees, one of their contracts. We can't. They made a decision that they were concerned about what may or may not affect their bottom line. So they decided to part ways with good old Drew. And now, all of a sudden, since it's happening to someone that you like, it's a bad thing? Interesting. I think I'm saying interesting too much. Some of the quotes. What Sucker Punch did firing one of their devs, I read that nonsense already, really soured my anticipation of Ghost of Yotei. I've removed all Sony titles from my wish list, even though Sony has nothing to do with it. It's actually just Sucker Punch, more than likely. Except Sony confirmed to it. Sucker Punch is owned by Sony, so yeah, take that. Strike that. Your management is supporting domestic and the fascism. It's a word they like to throw around. I'm pretty sure they have no actual clue what any of that means. Stuck in the middle. The irony is hard to miss. Ghost of Yotei is now being boycotted by the very same people who demanded action and those who believe the action went too far. You have people who were disgusted by what Drew had to say and decided to voice their displeasure by shutting their wallets down. Sucker Punch responded by letting Drew go, to which chances are a bunch of people who don't have the money to buy the game anyway are demanding a boycott for caving into the pressure. It's interesting how all this stuff just comes around no matter how many times you were warned. Eventually this will come for you. It will come for you. And, well, this is the bed you made. This is the bed you must lie in. How does it feel? I don't know how to think. Like I said, I had no intention. I unfortunately never played Ghosts of Tsushima. Ultimately, I giggle, I laugh because, well, the Schadenfreude is strong. Like I said, oh, goodness gracious. We're going to keep that in. Ultimately, I have a feeling this is not going to affect the sales of Ghosts of Yotei all that much because you have a massive normie audience that is not in tune to all that goes on social media, whether it's Twitter, especially Blue Sky, with even fewer accounts than Twitter. We'll keep an eye on it for sure. We got, 2 weeks before the game comes out. The telling sign that sales are down, despite Ghost of Tsushima being so stratospherically popular, the telling sign that Ghost of Yotei is a failure is when they don't immediately come out and start talking about the sales. This is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so it will be more and more difficult to prove sales in one direction or another. So I'm sure a lot of channels will be keeping an eye on it. I will be keeping an eye on it. But hey, let's congratulate Sucker Punch Studios and Ghost of Yotei for bringing both sides of the political spectrum, the ideological fence, together in agreement to boycott Ghost of Yotei. I'll never call you to boycott. Vote with your wallet. I'll give you some information. You make the decision for yourself. But that's all I've got here. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging you to do. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.